We're going to Sacramento and visit Small Wonders, the magic of toy trains. This exhibit features some 1,000 vintage toy trains, 6 interactive displays, and a 3,300 square foot layout.
Markland, Bing, Ives, American Flyer, Lionel. These are the names of legendary manufacturers of toy trains during the first half of the 20th century. And thanks to the passion of one man, these wonders of decades past are now on display for all to see. Entitled Small Wonders, this exhibit of the Thomas W. Sefton Collection is one of the crown jewels of the California State Railroad Museum in Sacramento.
This collection is considered one of the best in America. Mr. Sefton didn't just collect toy trains, he collected the best examples of toy trains, and he specifically focused on the Lionel Classic era. So he's got one of the top-notch collections in America. The exhibit was set up to really get visitors sort of into the feel of the toys. So as you go through the exhibit, you actually walk within a toy train station next to a Lionel City train station. And so there's an element of whimsy as you go through. We also wanted it to wow guests because toy trains are colorful, they're fun, and we think we've achieved all those things.
A gift from Thomas Sefton, a San Diego banker, the collection represents decades of endeavor by one of this nation's most persistent and savvy collectors.
A couple of highlights in the collection that I would mention are the Blue Comet train set and then the Transcontinental Limited. Those were personal favorites of Mr. Sefton's. He spent a long time trying to find the entire set in mint condition. And in this exhibit, we actually use that to then compare against, because those are really Lionel's finest toy trains, we compare those against Europe's finest toy trains.
The Small Wonders exhibit takes up about 3,300 square feet and is organized into 6 distinct areas.
In the exhibit introduction, that's your first greeting visually to this exhibit. So there's a large vintage graphic and then a very large toy train set coming out of what looks like a giant-sized box. In Collector's Attic, we explore who Thomas Sefton was, what all he collected, and we also take you down a pathway to explain that everyone collects something, and we help people understand that. Toy Trains 101 might alternately be described as the toy train timeline. We sort of explain how toy trains started before electricity, that basically they were push, pull, and wind-up sort of devices. Electricity really changed all that. And of course, the classic era of toy trains are all about electricity. In Lionel City, we take on a look at Lionel itself. Lionel became the greatest toy train manufacturer, not entirely by accident. They were a great marketer, and they also understood that electricity was a force that was going to stay. Some of my favorites in the Lionel City area are actually the oddball items. Lionel dabbled into toy boats as well as toy racing cars. There's also another favorite in one of the other areas that goes down the same pathway. It's the Lionel did a little oven and stove for girls when it was trying to diversify its product line. The operating layout is the part of this exhibit that guests spend the most time at, particularly if they're younger. We set it up to model what a toy train layout might have looked like if you had a wealthy family in the 1920s, at the height of the toy train era. Scenery techniques were not well developed. You tended to compress everything, and we've got probably more Lionel accessories than anybody ever owned at one time, but it's a dazzling layout, 4 different tracks operating on 4 different levels. Toy Trains for Everyone makes the leap from post-World War II to the present. The toy train era really has morphed into scale modeling as the main part of the hobby today. Manufacturing techniques changed, they really improved, so manufacturers could make a better model. And the industry moved from it just being for boys and toys to it being an adult hobby. My favorite part is actually right here behind me. connecting the whole idea of collecting to a real person who had a real vision and who then turned over this vision to the public to enjoy.
The more than 350,000 annual visitors who view this unique exhibit have every reason to be extremely grateful for the sharp-eyed passion of Mr. Thomas Sefton.